Welcome to Connect the Dots, a podcast where we unlock the stories that connect each and every one of us. Hosted by me, Zach Day, in partnership with Kenect Nashville. How do you connect? How do you connect? I do this every time. I'm like, how do you connect?
No, I love it. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, everyone at home. Thank you so much for coming today. My name is Zach Day. I'm over here at Kenect Nashville, and welcome to Connect the Dots podcast.
Hey.
Today, I'm here with my guest and my friend, Dani D.
Yes.
Dani D Fitness, if you will.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank
This
you
is
so much for
awesome.
coming. I know you're super busy, so we'll just keep it short and really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come.
Of
to come over here
course.
today.
Anything for you. Anything for you.
How have you been this morning? What have you been up to? You were busy before you came over here.
Yeah. So I woke up, I think it was like 5 a.m. and I did my check-in because I, bodybuilding and all that stuff. So I did my check-in and then I actually did my workout and then I trained some in-person clients in my sponsored home gym called the LYB. So Love Your Body.
Okay.
And then from there, I did virtual sessions. And while I did my virtual sessions, I was like meal prepping and stuff and in between. So I got all that done. So I feel very just on top of things.
Accomplished.
Yeah,
it's a Friday.
I love a Friday because Fridays are usually my half day with training.
Okay.
So I usually don't go any longer than like 11 or 12. And I kind of implemented that this year to have some like boundaries for myself, which has been great. And so that way I can go do fun things like this and I'm excited.
Nice. And you got any big weekend plans?
Well, okay, so I actually made, so being an entrepreneur, I don't really have a lot of time like for myself, and I'm working all the time and this grind. And so it's one of those things where I was like, I made kind of a bucket list of things I want to do around Nashville because I'm very aware that like I've lived here my whole life, but I did not experience Nashville.
Okay.
Like I lived in Murfreesboro, so it still was like that disconnect. And so like I just recently went to a Sounds game and then like I went to House of Cards.
Nice.
I went to 1230 Club. Like I did these things,
Yeah.
that weren't business related.
Right.
For once. And that was really cool. So I'm actually going to go to the Palace, I think, tonight. Have you been?
Have not.
They teach line dancing classes.
That's fun.
Right. And I love to move and dance and I have my own format, Move Fit, that I've done. But that's like more hip hop, more like that vibe. So line dance is totally different. So everyone expects me to be good at it. And I'm like, I've never been taught. No one's ever showed me. So I'm going to go take the class. And I actually have clients that go there. So some of them I think will meet me out, which is fine. And, whatever. But me and my friend Alex, we're going to go do the class. And then after you can just like vibe
Hang
and dance.
out. Oh my God. That's fun. Pick up a little choreography.
Yeah. Like I think it'll be fun. I'm just in something different. And like, again, I try to do at least one thing out of my comfort zone a week.
Okay.
And that's something I implemented, I would say over the past like year.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, girl, yes. And we're going to get into all of that too, because it's really important. Part of my whole entire MO is just like trying to find those little moments for yourself to because I'm like you, I'm busy. I'm constantly like my head's in the game when it comes to like music and making moves and stuff like that because like we got to do that.
Yeah. You're creative.
But I also think that you can have it all. You know what I mean? You can go out and have fun or do whatever you need to do. You need to get your mic together.
I'm pulling it, girl.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up like right here because like.
Oh, that's good. That sounds good. But
your voice sounds all sensual. Like I want my voice to sound like.
It's all about the just get in there and.
I host my own podcast. Right?
I was going to talk to you about that too, girl. I know you do because you're doing everything. So before we get into all of that, let's take it back to the beginning. So you said you grew up in Murfreesboro, right?
Yes.
Which is like what 45 minutes from here or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to ask you. I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
So you grew up right outside of Nashville, and then when did you move into the city? Was that like a conscious decision or were you just kind of like, I'm here? Like, what's the story?
So the whole thing was, long story short, grew up in Murfreesboro. I went to UTK, so UT Knoxville, for college. Didn't really vibe with it, but I fell in love with movement there. Became a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer. And from there, I graduated with my bachelor's in communication studies and hotel restaurant tourism, so event planning.
Nice.
And then I went to Vermont, worked at an all women's healthy living resort, which was super bougie.
Ooh,
but
that does sound sounds nice.
It was cool. It was so cool. And I got to do that. I learned a lot. And up there, this was 2015, they were talking about like body positivity. Okay. And so I was like, finally, someone addressing these issues and these things about people not loving themselves and through movement. And so that I learned a lot there, met some amazing mentors and friends. And then from there, I got a job in Franklin, which was 30 minutes from my parents' house. Mm-hmm. So I worked there, worked my way up. I became one of the top selling personal trainers there. And then after that, and a lot of adversity and struggle that went within there of not looking the part of a trainer, I started my business in 2017 and started it out in Franklin. So I was driving every day from Murfreesboro to Franklin. Okay. Yeah. Then I expanded to Nashville. So now I'm driving Murfreesboro, Nashville, Franklin every day. I mean, I was driving myself like, these are 16-hour days. I'm barely getting any sleep. I'm eating in the car. Everyone would always make fun of me because I'm doing my videos, like, on my phone, like all my stuff in the car and taking meetings. And that was wild. And so I was just running kind of crazy. And basically it was in 2019, I got an email from Jenna. Yes, and Jenna. And basically she was like, "Hey, would love to like talk to you about like being an influencer." Anyway, I'm sitting there at my gym when she's interviewing me. I'm eating my food. I think this is like a scam. Right. Like I think she's like not being real about like I get to live somewhere for free for a year. I was like, where's it even gonna be? Because I drive all over, whatever. Yeah. She literally was like, it's 2 blocks from right where we are right now.
You're like, oh.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I could live there. I'm like, I could walk to where I work because you got to understand, I've been driving, miles and gas, all this money. Like for years.
Oh, yeah.
Years. And then to get that opportunity, I had her come on my podcast and literally we talked about it. And I was from her perspective and it was so beautiful because she was like, I wanted a fitness influencer that did not look like the typical, that was somebody that was a real body and that people would resonate with, male or female. And, cool. And so she chose me for that. And that was the year that you also, so we both got to live here at the same time. But that is why I got the opportunity to live in Nashville. Okay. And that whole year I saved money. Yeah. And because, I'm not driving all crazy and I let go of the Franklin studio because of COVID. Yeah. So I stopped training there and I actually got to just train in Nashville and virtually and then and live here. So I saved so much money. And it was beautiful. It was such a godsend for me. It was something I manifested for years. I told my clients, I was like, I'm not gonna pay to live in Nashville. They're like, you're gonna be living with your parents forever. And I was like, no, something's gonna happen. It'll be good. And I wasn't even searching for it, and it just happened. It was beautiful, and she changed my life with that one decision that she made. And so I got to live here, and that helped me be able to save money. So now I have my own house, and I bought that in 2021.
Congratulations. Yeah, awesome? It's so good. I understand that completely. Yeah. And I'm ready to get me a house someday soon, hopefully. So I'm manifesting that as well. For sure. But that's amazing. Yeah, and we met a few years ago, just like Kenect was just starting.
Yeah, we were the first people to move in.
We literally
2020, literally walked through that door like,
there's construction going on. Yes. We're just like, you know what? But and I thought the same thing. I was like, this is too good to be true. Right. It was an amazing experience, and they kept you pretty busy, and they still are. Obviously you're here doing the podcast right now, and you come over and you do events and stuff like that. So you recently did an event here at Kenect where it was a body positivity event, and yeah, tell us a little bit about that. So
it was a speaking engagement where I did a Love Your Body talk. I had my whole setup. So I had my Fight energy booster supplement that I created.
Which I've been drinking, by the way.
Hey,
love it.
Helping with them gains. That's always good. But yes, I'm so glad. And so I had that. And then I had just an opportunity to speak and just talk to people and do a little Love Your Body activity. And you took part in it, which I really appreciated because there needs to be more men and part of this conversation.
Totally.
And, it's not just about, females feeling less than or insecure. It's about everybody, literally. So that's why when I say that my mission is for everybody, I mean that. And I've worked with men, I've worked with young boys, I've worked,
and you've stood by that for the past, ever since I've known you. That's been your MO. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, my mission has not changed. Like I look back at it and it's just so wild to look back at everything that's happened. But that's the one thing is that even before I started my business in 2017, that was what I was preaching to people. That's what I was saying to people, like getting your movement in, loving your body, fight for your want. It just wasn't as cohesive as that. Yeah. The moment I dropped my business, it was like we had bands, like we had my bands, we had shirts. I was like,
you're branded.
Go. Literally. Yeah. But I was like, I want people to understand and recognize this and know that this is like this is powerful, and this is something, this trifecta of good movement, good fuel, and positivity that will help you love yourself throughout.
And besides all of that, I mean, like that is like a motivational speaker kind of vibe. Yeah. So there's like that business side of you, and then also you do your own. You've competed in bodybuilding competitions, and you've trained really hard yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
So I want to know, were you back in 2017 before you started your business, and even during all of that time, were you also training for your own, personal bodybuilding? Or tell us a little bit about that side of you too.
Yeah, so I actually was a competitive dancer my whole life. So since I was 3. Right. So fake eyelashes, fishnets, the whole thing. So I was very much like accustomed to the glamour of bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
Which is so funny because people didn't realize that, because when people started following me was because I did strongman competitions.
Okay.
So I was Nashville's strongest woman in 2019 for flipping a 500-pound tire. So that went viral, went everywhere. But that was, and then went viral in 2021, which is crazy. But anyway, so it was like I was one of the first women really in Nashville to do strongman like competitions. And so from there, I just started winning. Like the first one I went to was random. I went to it with my coach and my trainer at the time, and won it. And then literally went to the next one in West Virginia, won it, went to nationals and got like 15th in the country. And then after that, it restarts like the year. So we started at another competition, like qualified for nationals there. And like, so it just, and then in July of 2019, right around the time, right before me and Jenna had even talked, I flipped that tire and won that title. So I was known for like strength at that point. But prior to that, when I danced, I never lifted weights. It wasn't until I had a back injury. So when I was 14, my vertebrae shifted forward, and I got basically it cracked. So I spondylolisthesis, and I still have that. I'll have that forever. And that's another reason why when you knew me, I actually was injured, and I had put on some weight because they told me to take a year off. Because in the beginning of 2020, before we even moved in, I was at a competition. I was lifting 400 pounds, carrying it for 60 feet, done it 1 million times.
Yeah.
But the handles were lower than normal. So it was that extra.
On competition day.
And I looked at them, and something told me, like literally told me and said, don't lift these handles. And I still could have qualified for nationals, and I could have even skipped that whole event, like, because I was ahead and winning. And I look back at it. I don't regret it, but it has taught me that like when I have that sense, I have to trust it.
100%.
And that is something within everything, with relationships, friendships, business. If it seems off, it is off.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And what happened the next day, I couldn't get out of bed. So the vertebrae had shifted forward more, and it crushed the disc. So from my psoas down, so for like the middle of my stomach down, pretty much was numb. So I couldn't feel my leg. So imagine like right now, if you get a Charlie horse, you can like walk it off, but you know how it's annoying?
Yeah.
That was my leg for the past 4 years.
Oh, no.
So even right now, like my calf is a little bit numb, but it's not like anything bad. But I have done PT, chiropractic. I'm a proponent of Epsom salt baths. All the things. Like I take care of myself in such a better way because of that injury, and it's helped me become a better trainer. But going back to what you said, I danced all my life, so I had that, like I loved movement, even though I didn't look like a dancer. And from there, when I got to the injury, I got like a personal trainer to help me kind of strengthen my back and with some core stuff and things like that.
Is that like a physical therapy kind of thing?
Kind of, it was. Okay. But also there's an underlying tone of like, you need to lose weight, because I had acid reflux and put on some weight with that. So it all kind of hit, I was like at the top of my game with dance.
Yeah.
And then it came crumbling down. And I still did well, and I didn't have surgery, and I just worked through the pain. Don't recommend, but okay. But and did that. And then after that, when I went to college, I didn't move for a whole year. I felt very intimidated. I felt like my dreams had been crushed, because I actually got into a dance college. So it was they had 2 different locations, New York, California.
Yeah.
And I auditioned. I sent in a videotape because I couldn't get there because I was 17, right?
Yeah.
And I got in, and no one believed that I would get a scholarship to go. And I basically was like, oh my gosh, like everything I worked for, like I get to go. I'm gonna live this life as a dancer in Cali, whatever. And then literally my parents were like, no, like, really? And I didn't have a job because I danced.
Yeah.
From the time I left school till 9 o'clock at night, every night, I'm dancing. I'm on the competitions. I'm doing the weekends. I'm doing dance team at school.
You're training.
For that moment.
Yeah.
So when that was like, when that dream kind of, disappeared, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I'll just go wherever. So I went to UT Knoxville. And then the whole first year I put on weight because I just drank and tried to fit in and lost kind of my way. I didn't have dance as an outlet. And that's where I realized finally, as I got back in sophomore year, I was like, movement is everything. And I got to figure it out. So I actually auditioned to be a group fitness instructor so I would have access to a private studio. So that way, like, I could be alone, but I could like teach and make $9 an hour, by the way.
Right.
$9 an hour. Let me say that one more time for everybody listening. $9 an hour.
Oh yeah.
So
Been
you know,
there.
so you know what I mean? Like, and I loved it though.
But that's so cool. And that's such a great, like, that's such an innovative way to think about it, because you're like, yeah, I can do this, but also still do what you like. It's a really good way to like make everything work for you, which is like what you've always done.
And then help people. Exactly.
Right.
And so it was beautiful. So I got to do that and grow in my craft. And then I kind of like opened back up and became more myself again.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Vermont, like, you know, did that and learned a lot there. But yeah, so when I was in Franklin, I took classes at like the studio that I ended up personal training at later after I left that gym. And I would do those classes. And so I would wake up 4 a.m., get there to do like a 5 a.m. class and then train all day long. And this is when I didn't have a busy schedule. So you got to understand, I'm doing so many things. And then I would teach like 3 move fits a day. I go to Nissan, Healthways. I was grinding and it was awesome. And I lived for it. And I, you know, I really did. I look back and I'm like, how?
I mean, really?
Like, right?
Yeah.
And it was so special though. But anyway, so there was, so from that point on, from sophomore year on, there was always an element of strength. So I would do like my classes. If I do Killer Core, I would do Insanity. I taught cycling. I've taught everything. Shadow kickboxing, you know, and I love to create. And so, and some of those classes actually have been seen on Shape Magazine. And yeah, when I got to be a Shape Squad instructor and everything.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so cool.
It was a beautiful opportunity. And so, yeah, so it was like, I've had that and I love that. And I got closer and closer and more involved with strength and with lifting. But the problem was by how I looked. And if you're just listening to the podcast, you can follow me on all social medias and everything like that, Dani Fitness 1, to see like my body type and stuff like that. I have a larger frame, been dense my whole life, you know what I mean? But again, wasn't obese, never had high cholesterol, no heart problems, like nothing like
course.
that.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really know how to eat properly. So during this whole time, I'm listening to these trainers and these coaches tell me to eat less. And I'm like, okay, but I'm really strong and I'd love to like move my body and I just don't feel the best doing this, but I stuck to it and I would get to that low weight and I'm like, I don't look how I want to look.
Okay.
And it was never about the weight for me. It was for them. So I was like, I never want to put that on my clients. I never want that to be how they feel.
Well, like you said, it's all about being strength.
Yes.
And like, you can't be strong and emaciated or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that you were trying to lose weight, but yeah, that's very interesting that you had to like look at that and be like, this is not necessarily lining up with your goals.
Right.
Your
And it wasn't. And that's why I was like, and not my mission either. And so for me, I was like, I just want to be kind of like left alone about this. I want to be like, I want someone that takes me seriously. So I took every class possible. Like I went to Barry's, I went to CrossFit. I did every opportunity I could, cycling.
Have you done 75 strong before? Or
75 hard? Yeah. No, because I basically was doing 2 days. I was doing 4 days, y'all.
Right.
Like when I say like I was like working out, then running 5 miles, then teaching class, then doing move fit. Like I've been doing that. Like, but I think that it's not sustainable. And the thing is some people love it, and that's a great measure to reset for them.
Sure.
Awesome, like cool. But just have a game plan after. It's just like bodybuilding shows. You can't go into it and not have a game plan after, because then you will put on 50 pounds real fast. Like you got to have a tapered program. So, and I even said that with my girls, you know what I mean? Like if they stop training with me, have like an online program to help them so that they're in their gym, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So always having a plan. But basically when I got to, finally I was doing, I was trying to find an outlet for me. And so what I did was I went and competed in the Nashville Fit Games. This is back in 2018. And what happened was I got second. And I knew that if I would have actually trained for it, it was like an athletic, different things to do, like wall balls and like running and run a mile, like that kind of thing. My friend put it on. So I was like the first one to sign up.
Did you have to do like 5 different?
We had like 10 different events. And it was a hot freaking day.
Wow.
And with a lot of people. And anyway, I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I just kind of did it. And I got second. And I knew that I could have beat this girl if I would have just really trained for it, had some guidance. Because because running your own business and being a female entrepreneur and like all the things, like you just don't have a lot of time. You don't, unless you carve it out, right? So I wanted someone that would help me carve it out, okay, and that accountability.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to do everything on your own. That's another thing that's a common theme on this podcast, is I've talked about it with all my other guests too. It's like it kind of takes a village, and it kind of takes like guidance is necessary and a lot of things, and just like someone that's been through it before, someone that can kind of direct you in the right places to go and just help you out a little bit with, it's necessary.
Well, people view it as being weak, and that's not what this is. No. That is being strong. If I have a male client that comes up to me and is like, hey, I need help with that, I don't look at them and be like, oh, like, do you? Like, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. Like, this is awesome. And especially for moms that I train as well, same thing, taking time for themselves. But basically what happened was at that competition, I saw this trainer, and he was like yelling, clapping for his client. And I had seen him before. And I'm like, man, like I want that.
Right.
I need that.
That's support.
That's support. Yeah. And everybody was leaning on me for support. Right. I needed that support. Right. So his name is Matt McQuiston. And so he does like mobile training and stuff. So he'll go around in a van and like unload like and stuff, So it's really cool. And he works for our friend Kevin. And so basically we just started meeting up under this bridge in Nashville and like training. And it was sick. And I loved it. But it was, what happened was I'd asked him after that competition, I said, hey man, like, can we just talk about this? Would you be able to train me? And it was very expensive for me at the time. And I was just like, this is an investment in my health. Like, let's do it. I need it. And so he looked at me the first session and was like, can you like, because we were doing some drills, and I was like, I want to work on like my footwork, for that like competition. He's like, and I got like a calf cramp, and it was like super embarrassing, and I was just like, wow, like I'm athletic, and then he was like, can we just try out like lift these farmer carries? So we'll just like lift like 45s anyway. And he was like, was that hard? And I said, no,
I can do that.
And then he was like, okay, so we went up to like, I don't even know, maybe 100 pounds, like it like each hand. Yeah. And he was like, did anyone ever tell you that you're really strong? I said, I thought I was this whole time. Yeah. I went to several classes though where they handed me 5-pound weights because of my body size. Yeah. Oh, that's and it was just one of those things, or because I was a female, or whatever bias you want to put in there, or maybe because I was new, whatever. But I would go to these classes, and so anyway, I always just felt kind of like, man, no one's gonna take me seriously, so like whatever. And then and when he saw me, it was like one of the first times I felt seen in strength. So he said to me, he's like, you should think about these strongman competitions. I was like, well, do I have to be like a certain weight to like do it? Because, whatever. I'm like, I don't know, like what's the deal? And he was like, nah, I think there's categories, but like, I think you just go in as like a novice and whatever. And I said, okay. He said, there's actually one coming up. He's like, I wasn't going to do it, but I was thinking about it. And he's like, but you should talk to this coach. So I call up this guy. We talk for 2 hours. He tells me all about strongman. And I'm like, this seems doable. He's like, well, there's a competition in like a week. Do you want to go?
In a week?
Yes. And I was like, well, can we like meet up just so we can see the implements? Because you're talking about a sandbag carry. I've never carried a sandbag. Yeah. I've never put a stone over the bar. Yeah. So literally it was like lifting up this heavy, like 160-pound stone and like rolling it over a bar. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And doing it multiple times. So I'm over here like, can we just try like a practice run?
Yeah, please.
And so we all three meet up. And I told my trainer at the time, we just started. So I was like, look, man, if you go to this competition, it was in Kentucky. Oh. And he said, if you go to this competition in Kentucky, like with me, I'll do it. And he's
gosh.
And he was like, okay. So we roll up, and like me and my trainer won.
Amazing.
And it was beautiful because I just like did the thing, and everybody's like, who's this chick in booty shorts wearing like a Dani D fitness shirt? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was just like, okay. So I felt very powerful. Then we went to West Virginia for the next one. And then, like I said, the Nationals, I forget where that one was at, maybe like St. Louis at that time. And anyway, and so I just started traveling kind of around like to these different competitions and growing that sport. And so that's what I did for myself. I didn't train my clients like that. I kept them.
I was going to ask if this was during the whole time that you were working at the same time and doing
this was 2018, 2019.
Right. Wow.
And then literally when I get the vibe from, Jenna that was happening, which I still didn't really believe till like 2020. Yeah. But really I was like, okay, like I need to like get everything up to Nashville. I need it because I'm doing so much here now. I'm Nashville's strongest woman. Like it's just making sense. Yeah. And so then finally, then I ended up going to I'll be here at Kenect and everything. But then as I was here though, I got, like I said, I got injured in 2020, and I still really tried to hold on to that. And I still did some workouts with that, but they were like, you really got to take this seriously. Like it's, it's bad. And anyway, and so then I did like my recovery stuff and taught my classes virtually and everything like that. I never skipped a beat. And then in 20, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, while you were saying that, I was just thinking about like, you talking about strength and stuff like that. I mean, you had already had like a certain situation that happened back in like before like 2017 or whatever, where you kind of had your dreams shattered in a way, I guess you could say. And then you were just talking about that getting injured. That's another, excuse me, that's another like adversity that you had to like overcome. And that probably took a big hit on your mental fortitude. I mean, dude, or your boy. Like
I was wrecked. I mean, because that was everything. That was my identity. Like I was the strong woman. You know what I mean? And you know, it was hard because, again, as an entrepreneur, it was that outlet for me. And movement saved my life in many ways. Because, like I said, that year 2020 was very hard. I lost a loved one. You know, I was here trying to do everything that I was doing, but also, you know, keep myself sane. And then, you know, there was just so many factors. And
then there's all this expectation on you and all this work that you have to still do every day.
People relying on me.
Right.
And that was the biggest thing. It's like, I still showed up for my clients. Like I did not miss sessions. I mean, you know, there was a time where I was like, hey, look, like I can't feel my leg today. Like you're going to have to load the bar, you know what I'm saying? Or like help me load the bar for some of my clients that needed the heavy work. And they were so great. And they're amazing. And they understood and they respected it, you know? And then from there, it was like when I finally in 2021, it was 2021. Before I moved out of here, I basically reached out to a bodybuilding coach, and I was like, hey, here's the deal. I need help with my food because I'm coming past like this injury. And I had to start from the ground up. So y'all have to understand, I was lifting 425 pounds for deadlifts and then had to start from like body weight. So I started over in 2021.
Right.
I started over, and then in March or February, my video went viral. That gave me some life. So then I'm like, okay, I got to lead a class that thousands of people are going to see, hundreds of thousands of people on Shape's Instagram. Like, and I was, and I'm doing these speaking engagements. I'm like, I can barely talk without getting out of breath right now. Cause I was just, you know, again, I wasn't lifting as heavy, but I still was eating like a strong woman. Yeah. So, you know, so basically when I got the opportunities, I was like, okay, kick it in gear. So I started with body weight. Then I started with a kettlebell, and then I started with bands. You know, I worked my way back up.
Yeah.
It was not like I went back to just straight lifting 100 pounds.
Right,
no, it wasn't.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to literally fight for what I want.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was super special because I got to, you know, I felt like when I had that coach, you know, he helped me with the food. So I learned how to really focus on meal prepping, actually knowing what I'm eating, not doing like the little extras here and there because those add up. Yeah. Not letting people not emotionally eating anymore. Yeah. Not letting grief overtake that as well. Yeah. So I worked on myself a lot during that time. And I actually still lived here after my influencership and then was able to compete and everything. And then after my show, I ended up moving into my house that we renovated the backside and all that was really cool.
And you have a gym in there now?
So that's the thing. So this house is like a 1980s house, right? So you know, so it's older. And but there was a shed out back. And I was like, okay, what Kenect? I would just roll out of bed. Because when you're in a bodybuilding prep, like that's how I got into bodybuilding, like I said. So I, you know, got with that coach and he's like, you should do a show and everything like that. And I lost like 60 pounds. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it went from, you know, at my heaviest, I don't know what it was, like upper 40s of body percent fat and into 15% body fat. So just completely changed, you know, the game for me. And finally something, but it was literally just like the eating that I was always missing. And so anyway, because I severely underate and then stored fat. And then anyway,
oh my gosh, it's so confusing to like,
I know.
The food of it all. And I'm like triggered when we talk because I'm like, it's so hard. You know what I mean?
It is. And that's why it really is personal.
Yeah.
In these cookie cutter plans, I got my friends that do all these stuff online. And I'm like, y'all, like I customize all my stuff for my people. Yeah. And I teach them how to eat and help them to where, again, because like not everyone's like me. I can eat the same thing every day for the rest of my life. I'm straight with that. Like I'm cool. But it's one of those things that a lot of people aren't. Yeah. So it's just a different vibe. And so I try to help them have freedom around food. And loving themselves means like not letting food control them. Yeah. And that is what, because I had that happen my whole life. And I just I don't want others to feel like that, you know? Yeah. And that was the whole reason I started my business is I didn't want anyone to ever feel alone in their journey because my journey was very alone. Yeah. People would laugh. I mean, literally, I'm not exaggerating. People would come up to me and offer me cookies and say, obviously you want them. You know, and that would happen every day that I was in like corporate gyms and always continually being doubted. And it's not this like chip on my shoulder, I'm going to prove you wrong. It's just this mindset of like, I know what my purpose is. And I've always known that. Yeah. So as long as I stay on that path, like we're straight.
Yeah.
Like things are going to work out. And I've been blessed.
Yes.
And so anyway, so about the gym. So basically I have this old school shed, and I'm thinking at Kenect, I'd roll out of bed, I'd be exhausted, and I'd just go down to the Stairmaster. I own that Stairmaster, man. And I would just like, you know what I mean? And do my cardio and then do my whole day and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if we can like make this into a gym. So we talked to a contractor, and they're like, yeah, like clear it out, and then like I can come in and do a couple things. And it was a little expensive for that, but it really, he did us a favor. He was awesome. Yeah. And so I ended up in a day, me and my mom and dad cleared out all the stuff from like the 80s. I'm talking like ratchet. Okay. And it was just, and we took some pictures in there, and then literally from there, contractor came in, added electrical, plugs. And then I basically was thinking like, how am I going to make like a gym though? I need like a Stairmaster, all those things. So I reached out to a local company, veteran owned, a female run business. Amazing. And Crane Fitness. And I reached out to them. I was like, look, I know you see my stuff. I see your stuff. I love what you're doing. Is there any way we can make out a trade, or we could figure something out? And they're like, Dani, like, we got you.
Nice.
And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, like, what do you need? And I was like, flooring, mirrors, a squat rack,
everything,
plates, like that. They gave me all of it.
Wow.
And came and installed it. And then I worked with another brand, and I did a trade with them for my Stairmaster, and then my bench, which that bench, I don't know if you've seen in my gym or whatever, but it's like $3,000 for a bench.
Insane.
But it came with like all the weights too. So like I got those. So literally it was such a blessing, because what happened was I'm in my prep, and so I'm doing it. And then my clients were like, hey, like this is a vibe. Cause I feel like lights around the top and like, and now this is a vibe. They're like, can we come check it out? I'm like, of course. So now fast forward to almost a year later. Yeah. People come to my home gym to train. Nice. So I have like celebrities, I have singers, I have doctors, there's all different people, walks of life that come in to that gym, because it's secluded, it's private, they can wear what they want. Yep. They don't have to be videoed. Like it's it's so cool. So it is that spot that like I was able to turn into and manifest. Wow. And once again.
So cool.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
It's amazing, and I want to come check it out sometime.
Yes,
I would love to.
Through,
it sounds amazing.
It's cool.
Wow, you are the queen of manifesting, and I love that. I love to manifest too, so I'm always like trying to like.
You are your thoughts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that's why I tell people with the positive affirmations and everything. Like if you tell yourself you hate yourself every day, then you do. Like if you sit here and tell this body like I hate every part of you, then cool, it's not going to really be reciprocating like positivity back. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. Dani, what is the ultimate goal for you? I mean, you are working so much. What are you working for? What's the what are you striving for? What are you fighting for, if you will?
I love it. Honestly, I would love to speak on a large platform. I would love to be on TV speaking about this mission. I would love to be doing more of this. Any chance that I get to tell people about my story, that about overcoming adversity, about fighting for what you want. I mean, loving your body throughout, all these things. I know that can help so many, and it has already. And even with my video, people being able to see somebody that was strong, that was sexy, that was a female, like doing like strength sports like that, I think made a shift. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I could tell that. And I was like, okay, like there's a power in that. And so I really would love to continue to share my mission any chance that I get. So even being here at Kenect and getting to do the, a speaking engagement, or I've done it at expos and conferences, and so they're all in the fitness realm, but would love to be like in the, on mainstream, TV, and so people
because it goes beyond just body positivity. Yes. It's a mental strength. It's like a motivational thing. Like, that's amazing. You totally can do that. You already are.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I know that it would be so cool, and just it would help a lot of people, and that's my main goal, and that's my mission, and so I think that'd be really special, and I want to continue to. Also help people in terms of like online programming. So like right now I have clients that are all the way out in California to Florida to just all over. And so I would love to be able to, grow that too. So because a lot of people I know are like, oh, like she's like the Nashville girl, but it's like, I mean, I help people all over.
You're Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Mrs. Worldwide.
Hey, fight has been everywhere. I'm just saying, like, it's in Hawaii right now. People are drinking it in Arizona. Like, they're sending me all the like screenshots and everything. And like, that's cool too, because I created a product. I know that for myself, truly, and then it's been able to help people feel better and stay on their goals. So
yeah, well, I think if you would like to just shout out whatever you want to shout out. Give us your socials, your products, anything, please.
Yeah. So Fight, you guys, is a 0-calorie vitamin based energy boost drink. Okay. So it's not a pre-workout. It doesn't have beta alanine in it, but it has your daily dose of vitamins. And also it has 125 milligrams of caffeine. So I'm drinking it right now. So, you know, I'm getting like all focused and everything, but it's a nice dose of energy versus feeling like cracked out, right? And so you just pour it in water and mix it up and it looks clear because, you know, try to keep it as, you know, as natural as we can.
Yeah, of course.
And, but yeah, so I sell that all over through my website, DaniDFitness.com. All my handles on socials are Dani D Fitness with the number 1 at the end. So DANI Fitness 1. But yeah, besides that, I have my podcast. It's called The Love Your Body Podcast. We rebranded. So it's on Spotify, YouTube, all the streaming platforms. And I love that. I've had people of all different walks of life on there, bodies, sizes, male, female, all the things. And it's been really special to share their stories and share just share the mission with them as well.
And that's a good way to connect.
It is,
if you will.
I know it is.
Bringing it back full circle, connecting.
100%. So, and I also do events. I have one coming up June 8th, and that's the Music City Fit Expo. So I helped plan that event, and I also am doing Move Fit there.
Nice.
And so, you know, it's been really cool to sponsor that event. And so, yes, I'll be doing Move Fit, which is my sexy athletic dance format. You can see that on my platform, on my Instagram, socials, all that stuff, me dancing around and everything. And it's just a good time. It's one of those things where you don't have to be a dancer. I do that as more of an outreach. Like that's one of those things where it's like, that's my give back to the community.
Yeah.
Done at 5th and Broadway, Bonnaroo, just all over.
Amazing.
Thank you. And it's for all levels. I've had people literally in wheelchairs do it. I've had elderly, I've had kids, which is fun. And it makes you feel like the sexiest person ever. It's just a vibe afterwards. Like you literally want to be like, I can go conquer anything. Yeah. And it's just a different way to move. So I love to connect with people in that way too. So if you're listening to this and you're just like, yeah, like I don't vibe with doing like weightlifting, or I don't vibe with bodybuilding, or whatever the deal is, like my whole approach is that my mission is for, like I said, anybody. Yep. So if it's something whether you need motivation through a podcast, like I got you. You need a drink that you can drink before or after a workout or just midday, I have that. Like, you know, so I try to be able to help people, even if it's not like that monetary, like that, you know, that trade of like services, right? Right. But then if you are somebody that you're like, I know myself, I need a plan, I need a routine, I got online programming. I have food accountability coaching. I have literally been working on this business. Like I said, this is my 7th year of business. And like, I've only learned, I've only grown because I continually work on myself. And that helps me be my best for everybody that I work with.
It's like, girl, you got it covered. You got it covered, whatever you need.
What you got?
Right?
What you got?
Well, besides all of that, and this will be my last question, is just like, what do you do at the end of the day or sometime during the week to just like find some sort of relaxation or peace or comfort or chilling out? What does your version of that look like?
Okay, so I didn't have that for a long time.
Yeah, how do you not burn out? I mean,
well, I did. I hit the ground really hard, and that was during my second course of bodybuilding shows, and that's why actually my clients end up coming and training with me, because like I physically just couldn't do it. I was exhausted, and I was running myself into the ground, so that was a blessing. But basically now that I have time, like I spend time like reading my devotional. I also make it time for intentionality of like a bucket list things, like going to the Palace tonight, like which is like a line dancing, like bar type place, whatever. But just something different. And that is what I'm doing, because I know that I'm healthy enough to go do those things. But like I get massages, I do my Epsom salt baths. Good. I go for walks. I just try to get out in the sunshine. Like I really do think that there has to be that balance in terms of that mental just relaxation and stuff. Yeah. And whatever that looks like for you.
Right. It's different for everyone.
Yeah. And so you just got to find like that one thing that just is your, and some people it is like dancing or, or it is going out for walks or whatever. Mine a lot of times too is just like talking with a friend, like, and like doing this, like this gives back to me so much that like, it's not work. This is like fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
Exactly. And it helps me to be like, okay, like that was something so positive. It gets me out of my norm. So I really appreciate you having me on And this was very, very special.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much for coming. I think that's going to wrap it up for us here at Connect the Dots podcast. Be sure to follow Dani everywhere, Dani D Fitness 1. Go check out her website. You guys can check out me at Zach, Kenect Nashville, at Kenect Nashville. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much, Dani. Bye.
Oh, yay.